This tigress was seeing her cubs for the very first time in her life. And this chimpanzee, she got her baby back after being separated from him. Today, you're going to see moments that prove true love can survive anything, even in the animal world. And to kick things off, a story that'll give you chills. A leopard cub got lost in a sugarcane field. Wildlife rescue teams were quickly called in. They knew every minute counted if they were going to save the cub. The plan was simple: find him, take care of him, and bring him back to his mom. And when they finally made it to the right spot, this emotional scene unfolded. The leopard mom was already there waiting, restless, searching for her baby. And the moment she saw her cub safe and sound, the relief was instant. Just like the leopard cub, this next story is gonna hit you right in the feels. Check this out. A baby chimpanzee went through the worst night of his life. He was bitten by a brown snake, one of the most venomous snakes in the world. The zookeepers acted fast, and after hours of intense treatment, the little chimp finally pulled through, and all he wanted was to be back in his mother's arms. Their reunion is seriously heartwarming. The moment she saw her baby, she ran to him without thinking, and he went straight into the safest hug in the world. But get ready, because this next story will melt your heart even more. It's about a little puppy who got separated from his adoptive mom, who just so happens to be a cow. Yeah, and their reunion? It'll make anyone tear up. But first, let's talk about these two little lambs who were taken away from their mom. The babies had been rescued from a farm where they weren't being properly cared for. Even though they were finally in a safe place, they just weren't happy. Something was missing. The staff at the sanctuary noticed the two weren't even eating. Something was clearly wrong. So they went back to the other farm, and that's when they found out why. These babies missed their mom a lot. Without a second thought, the team decided to bring the mother back and make this beautiful reunion happen. From that moment on, they were never separated again. Now these two little tigers were about to face a big challenge for the very first time. Spot and Stripe were raised in a tiger sanctuary because they were born too weak to survive in the zoo. And now, a few months old, it was time for them to start facing the real world. The thing is, there were 10 other tigers living in the sanctuary, and soon the cubs would have to be accepted as part of the group. Up until now, they'd only seen the adult tigers through the glass. But now, they'd have to share the same space, no barriers. And that was scary, because in the wild, a cub approaching an unfamiliar adult can be in serious danger. So the owner of the sanctuary handpicked the first adult they'd meet, Maneki, a calm, gentle tigress with a strong maternal side. The interesting part? This was her first time ever seeing cubs up close, and no one knew how she'd react. But in that moment, all the fear disappeared. Maneki got it. She accepted them right away. It was the beginning of a new chapter, and a huge relief for everyone at the sanctuary. Because for Spot and Stripe, this was their first step in going from house cubs to real tigers. Now let's move on to one of those stories that just breaks your heart. A little puppy named Rookie was raised by a cow from the day he was born. To him, she wasn't just a cow, she was his mom. But sadly, because of financial issues, the owner had to sell the cow, and Rookie was separated from the one he loved most. When he saw his mom leaving, Rookie cried like his whole world had fallen apart. So he did something incredible. He ran away from home, following her scent, his instincts, and pure hope, all just to find his mom again. But even after that emotional scene, nothing had changed. His owners still couldn't keep the cow, and Rookie was separated from her once again. The little dog was so heartbroken he stopped eating. He just sat by the door, waiting for his mom to come back. That's when his owners decided to do something to fix the situation, and what happened next will warm your heart. Now, the family was finally back together, and this time there were no plans to ever split them up again. Now this mama fox was absolutely desperate because her little baby was in serious trouble. The tiny cub had crawled into a pipe and couldn't get out no matter what. Rescue teams were called, but even with all their effort, getting him out wasn't easy. The hole was narrow and really deep. But they didn't give up, and after a lot of hard work, the little one was finally brought out safe and sound. All that was left now was the most emotional and long-awaited part, the reunion between this baby and his mom. Now get ready to see the sweetest, most emotional reunion in the animal kingdom. Right after birth, the caretakers noticed something was wrong with a newborn panda cub. They rushed in, fed him milk, checked his vital signs, and after hours of intense care, the moment everyone had been waiting for finally arrived. The first meeting with his mom. She gently picked up her baby, and honestly, it's impossible not to get emotional watching it. And then there's this cow. She cried day and night on a farm, and one day, her owners finally figured out why. But before that, over at a zoo in Indiana, a red panda family welcomed 3 little babies. Unfortunately, one of them was born with a breathing issue. He was tiny, fragile, and needed to be hand-fed every day for months. Time passed. The little guy grew stronger, more curious, until finally, the big day came. After months away from his mom and siblings, he was brought back to his family's space. And since we're on the topic of heartwarming reunions, check out what happened in Green Bay. A mother duck was absolutely frantic. Her ducklings had fallen into a storm drain. She was pacing back and forth, calling out, looking down into the hole, until people noticed what was going on and called emergency services. The firefighters carefully started the delicate mission, rescuing the ducklings and reuniting them with their mom. With steady hands and lots of patience, they managed to get the little ones out, and as soon as they placed them back on the ground,
I want to help you, Mum.
The mom ran straight to them, and just like that, the family was whole again. Now, over at Sedgwick County Zoo in Kansas, a moment happened that touched hearts all over the world. A chimpanzee named Mahale was in labor, but things started to go wrong. The baby just wasn't coming, and the vets had to act fast. She underwent an emergency C-section, and to make sure the baby was okay, he had to stay with the medical team for 2 long days, until the moment finally came.
Good job, Mahali. What a good girl.
The second she saw that tiny bundle wrapped in a blanket, it was love at first sight. She rushed to hold him, cradling him gently, like she never wanted to let him go. Now this mama cow just wouldn't give up until she found her baby. A couple decided to rescue a cow named Maybelle, who had spent years living on a farm, and bring her to their animal sanctuary. But even though Maybelle now had everything she needed, she cried day and night. That's when the couple asked themselves, could she be looking for someone? Determined to get to the bottom of it, they went back to the farm where Maybelle used to live, and found something truly emotional. She had left a calf behind, and suddenly everything made sense. Maybelle had been crying because she missed her baby. She was looking for him the whole time. That's when the couple made a beautiful decision. Now this little family was finally whole again. And if you think all the reunions so far have been emotional, just wait for this one. Everyone knows elephants don't have the best eyesight in the world, but there's one thing they never forget: a familiar face. This story happened after a baby elephant was taken by a tourism service, where people ride elephants for entertainment. He spent 3.5 years away from his mom. She hadn't seen her baby since, and probably thought she never would again. But fate had other plans. A rescue team found the young elephant and brought him to a sanctuary. And here's where the unbelievable part comes in. By pure coincidence, his mom just happened to be at the same sanctuary. The moment they saw each other, even after all those years, they recognized each other right away. And since we're talking about heart-melting reunions, you have to see what happened with Sweet Bess. She was found pregnant, all alone, living on the streets. But she was lucky enough to be taken in by an amazing family who welcomed her and her 12 puppies into their home. Among the bunch was Birdie, the tiniest of all, fragile, shy, and needing extra care. As time went on, the puppies grew strong and healthy, and one by one, they were adopted by loving families. Years passed, and then something nobody expected happened: the reunion. Now all grown up, the puppies got to see Bess again, but when Bess saw Birdie, the magic truly happened. It was like no time had passed at all. That unbreakable bond between mother and daughter, even after all that time, was still there. And now, a story that starts out sad, but ends with a warm heart. A lioness had become separated from her pride, and anyone who knows the wild knows, being alone out there means your chances of survival drop fast. She spent days by herself, not seeing a single member of her family. The stress and sadness were written all over her face. But then, the unexpected happened. After days of searching, she finally found her pride again. And then there's this little goat. He had fallen into a hole and gotten separated from his mom. This one will definitely get you emotional. Thankfully, some kind-hearted people rescued him. Even though he was covered in dirt and clearly scared, he wasn't hurt. His rescuers made it their mission to find his family. They tried several different spots near where he had been found, hoping for a reunion. In the meantime, the little goat, whom they named Shawarma, was growing up loved and cared for. Then one day, a herd of goats appeared nearby, and they decided to set Shawarma down and see what would happen. What followed was incredible.
Wala, nagsasalupa ba? Kaya... Hala, kaya...
Not only was that his herd, he found his mom again. The rescuers were heartbroken to say goodbye, but they knew they were doing the right thing. Now Shawarma was back with his family and happier than ever.